Now, a day after awarding Ukraine candidate status, EU leaders are shifting focus to the energy crisis. Today, the summit in Brussels is going to decide on how to tackle soaring power prices and the threat of a total cut-off of Russian gas. EU leaders have accused Vladimir Putin's regime of weaponising gas after it cut supplies by 60% to Germany, citing repair work in the Nord Stream pipeline. Germany has activated the second phase of its three-stage gas emergency program, taking it one step closer to rationing supplies for most industries. Germany, Austria and others are now turning to coal to generate electricity. Europe is pouring billions of euros into tax cuts and subsidies to combat surging energy prices. The International Energy Agency has warned that Europe needs to prepare for the eventuality of Russia turning off all gas exports to the region this winter. Rosie Burchard joins us live from Brussels. Rosie, what are the chances that the European countries could find alternate gas supplies by winter?
Well, leaders here at this summit in this building are locked in discussions on that as we speak. This energy crisis is very much looming over those talks after a happier occasion yesterday when EU leaders granted Ukraine candidate status. But of course, the fallout of Russia's war in Ukraine very much being felt by EU citizens when it comes to these soaring energy prices and the shortages, particularly caused in recent months by Russian energy giant Gazprom seeming to bit by bit turn off the gas taps to certain European countries. Now, some EU nations, including Poland, have been fully cut off by Gazprom, but as you mentioned, in Germany, the Netherlands have seen smaller cuts in supplies, and the EU countries have been looking beyond their borders to try and replace those gas supplies from Russia. They've been in talks with countries including Qatar and Algeria, but they have also now just recently managed to strike a new gas deal with Norway. That should plug some of the gap, and the European Commission has unveiled a major plan to try and radically reduce this dependence on Russian gas. That includes radically ramping up investment in renewable energy. But the reality is becoming more and more clear that renewables and clean energy simply will not be able to plug this gap over the next few months. And that seems why we're seeing several countries turning back to fossil fuels. Germany and the Netherlands announcing they are going to be burning more coal in order to avoid any sort of crisis in the meantime. European leaders here at this summit are discussing if there could be some sort of a European response to this, for example, joint purchases of gas, and also they're trying to make sure that gas storage within the bloc is filled and legally binding requirement to fill that gas storage before the winter heating season sets in, as they try to really face up to that long-term dependence on Moscow for energy supplies.
It's a long-term battle, as you stated there. Should potential rationing come into play, it will first hit the region's industries, wouldn't it? Now, is Europe bracing for a recession even before the United States?
Well, European Union leaders are also talking specifically about the economic situation at these talks here in Brussels. They've been addressed by the chief of the European Central Bank, Christine Lagarde, and that comes a week after the European Central Bank announced it was moving forward with work on a new anti-fragmentation instrument. And a week before that, the European Central Bank announced its first interest rate increase in more than a decade. Inflation currently in the Eurozone is at about 4 times the target. It's at record high levels, the highest since records began in the Eurozone, these 19 countries which use the euro currency. So EU leaders trying to figure out a way out of this. We've had some comments just in the last few hours from leaders as they filed into these talks. For example, Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson saying that there should not be false solutions presented to citizens, saying that if these inflationary concerns are caused by shortages of Russian gas, for example, that it would not work to just pump money into households. But what we are hearing from other prime ministers, for example, Krišjānis Kariņš of Latvia, saying that the priority must be to support those households most in need.
Rosie Burchard is in Brussels for us. Thank you for that.